Hello viewers, a very good evening to you. This is Mastermind with Moses Warrior. It may interest you to know that today was historic in the life of the Federal Polytechnic of Oil and Gas here in Bonny, as the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Polytechnics held their election to bring about the new leadership, the people who are going to man the union for the next couple of years. And we thought it wise to catch on set the brand new chairman. He's the former chairman that was re-elected, and I know that for him to be brought back to power, the people really believes in him, and we would like to hear what were his strategies, what put him up to power, and what are the strategies of leadership he has used in the past that would actually be learnable to us, to you viewers out there. But before we do that, let me bring on set the chairman, the brand new chairman that was elected today. His name is Mr. Sopiriala Pepple. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome to SEC. So I want to believe you're excited to be on SEC today.
I am.
You're excited. Wow. So what was the election like? Are you impressed? Were you astonished? Was there any surprises that people like to hear about?
I was impressed. Okay. I am happy because what I expected actually played out.
Wow. What you expected actually played out. That's interesting. So what is it you expected?
I expected that people will appreciate my service to them over the years, okay, and re-elect me for a second tenure. Okay.
But you expected they were going to re-elect you, but we have information that there was no publicity made from your end. That's a way of like saying you were confident that you are going to come back to power, because a lot of people said they didn't see any publicity from your end. It looks like you weren't working at all. How did you come about that to finally emerge the winner?
Okay, my operational pattern is not about the publication. I felt my activities over the 4 years had sold me out to the people. I told myself and those I was going to represent to consider my activities from the first day I emerged as chairman during my first tenure to the last day. What inputs have I made? What have I brought to the table? How have I impacted their lives? So I felt they should use that as a means of accepting me for a second tenure or rejecting me.
Okay. So I want to believe that before you emerged as the chairman for the first time, you had a manifesto. You would have told the people you're going to do this just like every politician will do out there. Can you score yourself? What was, if on a scale of 1 to 10, what was your score like? And can we have a brief of the things you did that you think was spectacular enough to qualify you to come for a second tenure?
Scoring myself, I should give myself 8.
8
because
over what?
10.
8 over 10?
10, yes. Wow. Because as a teacher, we always have reservation. Yes, as a trained teacher. Now, the things I did that would give me that score, I had a manifesto. And my manifesto was simply to speak up for the people. Now, as a union or unionist, we have a vision. Our vision is to protect the interests of our members. Now, I was able to make this come true. It was not easy because during the period we had challenges. We had management that resisted every effort to make these things work. But we were determined, we were focused, and we stood our ground. At the end of the day, we saw things happening. Though we didn't get this at a platter, we consulted, and we got the support of members, because as a union, we must be united and speak up in unity. That is the only time we could get what we wanted. So when I got the support of my members, we started seeing things happening the way they went to sell us out to get this mandate for the second tenure.
Okay, you're using the word we.
Okay.
Can we know what you mean by the word
anyway,
we?
Talking about we, I'm a team player. Okay. Now, I did not succeed alone. Yeah. I always consulted, like I mentioned. And I said before I achieved or got the successes recorded, I consulted. I got the support of both Congress members and some ESCO members who gave me ideas, who supported the cause. That was when we were able to get to the point we are today. So I cannot give myself credit without bringing those persons. Okay. So we succeeded because they played their role. I was only privileged to be at the front line. Sometimes I'll go to the back and see what is happening. So that's the
So you had resistance. Can we understand what you mean by resistance? What resistance did you have?
Yes, resistance from management, who would not want to address these issues that borders on staff welfare generally. Resistance from those who are interested in leaving workers to be the way they are, because in their perception, workers don't deserve to get what is due them. So they fought tirelessly, and like we know, an intellectual environment. Now they bring this to bear, trying to convince us why we should not get what is due us. And we on our part, we had to consult, know what the law is saying, what is supposed to be given to us as workers, and we stood our ground also, giving them reasons why they should release all that is due us.
Okay, so in process of you trying to portray the interest of your union members, you obviously said you had resistances. I'm also aware that for you to be able to scale through and succeed in your pursuit for the welfare of your members, you may be stepping on one or two toes. First of all, before you become a unionist, I'm aware that you are first of all a federal government staff, right? And you have to have a very professional skill to be able to manage between being a federal government staff and still being a unionist, to be able to push and press for the needs of your people. And most importantly, most of the time, the people you demand these things from will be the federal government, right? The management of the institution, who are your bosses in the office. So how are you able to relate with working with your bosses and still pressing them for the needs of the people without being threatened and all that?
Firstly, like I always tell my members, you should know your onion. Now I was able to master my brief, did my job the way I should do it. Now, because normally in resisting your request to better the lots of workers, management could go and look at your weak point, which generally, like being a worker, they want to look if this man knows what he's doing. Let's use that angle to hold him down. Is he committed? Is he punctual to work? These are the strategies management usually use. So the first thing I did was to make sure I studied my brief, gave my best, and also I was punctual to work. So they had no area to nail me. I think these were the strategies I used.
Okay, so in the process of you trying to deliver your duty as union chairman, was there any threat? Was there any bullying? What was your experience like?
Oh, it was terrible.
Wow.
Because we noticed people from outside who naturally do not have any, not really affiliation, who are not part of the polytechnic community, based on selfish interests, came on to threaten. And we refused to be intimidated, because you must be determined to succeed in unionism. I was determined not to be intimidated by their threats. I was threatened. At some point I was locked up for no just cause. We had just normal argument, and the next thing I saw, security men came, picked me up, and they had nothing to say.
You think that's not good enough for you to pull out? You're still going for a second tenure.
Wow.
There must be something interesting about this office.
Interesting. There are things interesting.
Yeah.
Now, what are the things interesting? I meet people.
Okay.
Yes. People who share ideas with me. And this idea helped me as a person. And the office, the challenges I face in the office prepares me for better challenges in the future. Yeah. So when I see it's not a win-win thing, there are situations where you'll be broken based on maybe threats and all that. But then there are also the good part of the whole thing. When you see yourself pushing up for something and your members are happy, you are also happy because you are getting results. So I pushed on because I recorded successes. Yeah. I met people who improved my leadership qualities. So it's enough reason to still move on.
Okay. So you are coming in for the second time. Obviously, you've gotten more experiences than the first tenure. So I would like to find out if during the course of your handling the first tenure, what are your regrets? What are the things you think you would have done better? And by virtue of you coming for the second tenure, you'll be able to correct.
Do I have any regret? I think I would say I don't. Not because I don't have my weaknesses, but as a person, I'm teachable. Okay. So I sample opinions to get what I want. Now, what would have been my regret if I had the opportunity to choose people I work with, I would have known the crop of leaders that I would have taken to work with me. Because in leadership, the people around you matters. They play major roles in your success or failure. So I think my regret is working with some persons who do not appreciate my sacrifices, who do not add up to my success story. Those are my regrets.
Okay, so if that's a regret, automatically we have the information reaching us as it that your executive council members has been mixed up. Not everybody showed interest to come back to the government, and some of them that showed interest perhaps were not given the mandate to go back. Yeah. So would you say the new brand of leaders are going to make you more effective as compared to the past? Because you're seeming like the past there were one or two regrets. The new brand of leaders, do you say you've worked with them? Do you think they'll be able to make you more efficient in this your tenure?
Anyway, I would not categorically state that, because now they are new, like you mentioned. I need time to study them, work with them to know who each individual is. But the fact is that expectations are high, and they have learned from the experiences of some members who aspired but did not get the opportunity to serve. So with that reason, I'm sure they would want to give in their best, knowing that the offices are not going to be given to them at a platter. So these are the assurances I have that they would be more coordinated while serving.
So obviously you have come into power for the second tenure. You should obviously, as a chairman with the captain of the ship, you should obviously have a blueprint. You should have a plan on what you want to execute in this second tenure. Can we have a brief review of what that is?
Okay. Like I did mention, my mission generally is to speak for the people. Who are the people? Members of the union. My vision is to drive for the push for the interests of the union. The interest of the union is to ensure that as at when due, our people are promoted. Our allowances are paid. We are sent for trainings to enhance our capacity so that our input to work will be better. My vision is to see that the Polytechnic grows from the level it is to a greater height. Because you mentioned earlier that the Polytechnic is where I serve. That's the first point of call before I became a unionist. So I work towards the growth of the Polytechnic. I am very mindful in whatever I'm doing to see that the interest of Polytechnic is protected. Because when it's protected, then the union activities will be playing out.
Okay, but you are not the chief executive officer of the Polytechnic. So
I don't need to be the chief.
Okay. We are looking at it from the angle of the union.
The union, yes.
What the blueprint you have for your people?
My people.
This tenure.
This tenure. I want to make sure that whatever is due them is given to them. Okay. I want to make sure that they are sent for several trainings to make them face the challenges ahead of them. And when that is achieved, then the Polytechnic itself will grow to a very height that will be envied.
Okay, so most of the times when two elephants fight, the grass suffers. You're a union chairman, and obviously you'll be pressing for the needs of your people, which would most times may not play out the way you're expecting. But I know that as the senior staff of Nigerian Polytechnics, you're not directly in the hem of affairs of the academics, but I know that you play a vital role that has to do with working with the academic staff, right? So automatically, if anything happens and your union goes on strike, the services that your members provide for this academic staff will automatically affect the academic calendar of the school. So what's your advice for the students? Just suppose there's a strike and the students are going to suffer a lot. What's your advice? What do you think what role should they play to not hamper themselves?
First, they should go back and study. Secondly, some of them have uncles, parents who are in government. Yes, they should talk to them, because a man that is motivated would give more than a man that is demoralized. So if we go on strike, they will suffer. So they should always talk to their parents, their uncles, where they are in power. But where that is not the case, in Nigeria, is now a norm that schools goes on strike because of the inaction or action of government. But where that is the case, they should be committed to their study, because we know that knowledge is not just acquired from the learning environment only. They learn from the house. Even if we don't want that, we don't want their academic calendar to be hampered. Our earnest desire is for them to go through the calendar without any obstruction. But if it comes that way, as long as the workers are motivated, because they also have families, they need to pay bills of their kids who are also in school and all that. So they should accept it and equip themselves.
Okay, that's for the students.
So, yes.
We hear you are the SSANIP representative in the NLC River State, right?
That's true.
You are also the chairman of SSANIP in the Federal Polytechnic of Oil and Gas Bonnet. You hold also one or two chieftaincy stools. You're one Senator ahead, and you also have family issues. How do you relate to handle these offices without each of them affecting the other ones?
Wow, it's about planning. Yeah. Yes, it's about planning. When you plan properly, you hardly fail. I have my to-do. I make sure I don't allow them conflict. I give ample time to my family. I know the time to give to my work, then my associations. So I don't allow a clash of interest. I make sure I give my family, apart from time, resources they need and all that. So I try to balance up.
So you think none of the offices overlapping on you?
They are not, because I don't bring all of them. I don't bring all of them together at the same time. I have a schedule for each and every one of them.
Okay, on a final note, we know that there are several challenges that could make a man to fail in life. But from your own perspective and your own view, why do you think primarily people fail in life?
People fail because sometimes they don't have opportunity. Sometimes they do not plan properly. They fail because they refuse to equip themselves. So there are several reasons why people fail.
When you talk about equip yourself, you're talking about personal development, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like us to close the curtains for now while we expect the arrival of your secretary. We want to say a big thank you for coming to speak with us.
Thank you.
And a very big congratulations. Never forget that the expectations are high. So we believe that you need to hold this your office and your people to a high extent. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Very well.